When your baby is 2 months old, a lot is happening, but often not in the way that people expect. At this stage, development isn't really about skills yet. It's more about how your baby is starting to wake up, take in the world, and organize their bodies little by little. One of the most important things in this phase is to vary the position that we keep our babies in, ideally combined with gentle movement. In this video, I'll walk you through what we expect to see at 2 months of age, what really matters, what's completely normal, and what may be worth keeping an extra eye on. My name is Dr. Alex, I'm a pediatric chiropractor and a dad of 3. Now let's look at development at 2 months old. Now before we go any further, there are 2 things I want you to keep in mind. First, there's always a normal range when it comes to development. Babies don't all do things at exactly the same time. And secondly, development always follows the general order. And these milestones aren't about comparing your baby to others. They help us understand whether the foundations for what comes next are starting to form. And if your baby was born prematurely, always remember to adjust milestones based on their due date, not their birth date. At 2 months old, your baby is slowly moving out of that early newborn phase. You may notice that your baby is more awake and aware, able to stay engaged for a little longer at a time, and starting to bring their body more towards the middle. There are more moments of connection, more movement, and more curiosity. But everything is still very new and very immature. At this stage, it's not about doing more. It's about how your baby responds to different positions and gentle movement. When your baby is lying on their back around 2 months, you may start to notice short moments where the head comes towards the middle. Not steady yet and not for long, but that's completely normal. They might hold it there for a few seconds and then the head falls to one side. At this age, what matters most isn't control, it's trying. You'll also see a lot of leg and arm movement. Kicking, waving, stretching. These movements can look big, messy, and uncoordinated. And that's exactly what we want to see, because this is your baby's way of exploring their bodies and the space around them. What's helpful to notice? That movement happens on both sides, that your baby doesn't always rest or move in the same position, that movement looks relatively easy, not forced or stiff. At around 2 months, tummy time isn't about how long your baby stays on their tummy. It's more about how the body is supported and loaded and that they get enough opportunities. Most babies around this age can lift their head a little, often around 30 to 45 degrees. You may notice the elbows slowly coming closer under the shoulders and the hips resting more into the surface. As your baby is getting tired in this position, it's quite common for the head to tip to either side. And that in itself is not a problem. What we want to look for is that it doesn't always happen to the same side, that there's variation. For many babies, classic tummy time on the flat floor can feel demanding at first. And the good news is that there are lots of other ways to support the same development. Chest-to-chest tummy time over your lap, carrying your baby in different positions, all of these count. One important thing to understand is that moving is very calming and organizing for a baby's nervous system. That's why gentle dancing, slow bouncing, or supported play on a gym ball can be so helpful. When we add movements to our babies, we often make it easier for the body to do the work. Now, if this is helpful for you, remember to subscribe to the channel. I share simple guidance like this weekly, and you subscribing makes it easier for other parents to access this information. Alright, let's keep going. At 6 to 8 weeks, your baby's hands are still often like little fists, and that's completely normal. But you may start to notice short moments where the hands are open. Those moments are important. They tell us your baby is slowly moving away from automatic reflexes and beginning to gain a little bit more control. The brain is maturing. If you place a lightweight object in your baby's hand, they may hold it briefly and then drop it. That's not a lack of strength, it's part of development. This is the very early beginning of hand-eye coordination. One of the most exciting changes around 2 months is vision. Your baby may spend more time looking at faces and may start to follow objects for short moments. The eyes and head are beginning to work together. This ability to follow movement is a foundation for so many things: reaching, moving, playing, and learning later on. Smiles, cooing, and a little back and forth moments are also important milestones of this age. Not because your baby is trying to talk yet, but because interaction helps regulate the nervous system. When your baby calms when they hear your voice or see your face, that's development happening. If your baby isn't showing all of these signs yet, that doesn't mean that anything is wrong. But over time, it can be helpful to take a look if you notice things like very little variation in movement, a strong preference for one side that doesn't change, a lot of stiffness or discomfort with movement, very limited response to voices or faces. When that happens, it's worth looking at the bigger picture and seek professional help. 2 months is all about building foundations. How your baby's body and nervous system organize now helps shape what comes next. Now, I hope this was helpful for you. Please ask your questions in the comment section and remember to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.